James pulled into the big station beside Gordon, looking unusually glum. "You've been strangely quiet, little James. I'd expect you to be complaining about your goods work," Gordon snarked. "Edward reminded me of the old Loans engines. We often cause trouble and are rude. Do you think we are like them?" James wondered. "Unlike them, we knew when to stop. The others were sent away, but you showed 98462 what us Northwestern engines are made of," Gordon recounted, and it all came back to James. 98462 had caused too much trouble, but the Fat Director was willing to give him one last chance. "You have caused too much trouble since you came, 98462. However, I am willing to give you one last chance to prove yourself, but if you fail again, you will be sent away. Am I clear?" the Fat Director warned. 98462 simply mumbled, "Yes, sir." 98462 entered the yard and backed down to a water tower. He had a long drink before his express run. While he was waiting, he noticed James was there. His crew were talking to the workmen about their next train. "Oh, James, how dreadful to see you here," 98462 smirked. James gave an insulted look. "At least my paint job isn't as dreadful as yours," James retorted. "What cheek!" 98462 was astounded. "I'll report you to the Fat Director." "Not likely, he won't believe you," James giggled. "And why not?" 98462 asked. "Who here has the worst reputation on the railway?" James asked. 98462 stayed silent, thinking his hardest before answering with, "Gordon," he replied with confidence. James gave a displeased look that a teacher may give a student when they got their answer wrong. "Now if you don't mind, I, the greatest express engine, have a very important train to take," 98462 said with the largest amount of envy, and he pulled away to collect his coaches. James laughed at him as he departed. "Get in quickly, I haven't got all day," 98462 snapped to the passengers, so everyone got in quickly, and 98462 rushed away. Whenever he came across another locomotive, he simply discarded them rudely and continued on with his work. Though he didn't realise it himself, he was not taking advantage of his final chance, and his rude behaviour eventually caught up with him. He was rushing down the express line when he felt something sloshing about in his tender, and then he felt a blockage in one of his injectors used to transport water from his tender to his boiler. "Yosh! What is that?" Not too long after, he felt another blockage with his other injector. His fireman panicked, and 98462's crew brought him to a stop. "I will not risk losing my speed record to that silly excuse of a locomotive called Gordon," 98462 cried. He secretly looked up to Gordon and always saw him as a competitor to the express. "You must wait. Your injectors are failing, and if we continue, your boiler could explode," the fireman said. "Ah!
Explosion or not, I am getting my train to the next station,
98462 argued. His crew knew the next station was a long way off, and his boiler would explode if he continued on alone. The situation was reported to the Fat Director, and he went and paid James a visit. James, 98462 has done it again. He is stuck on the main line and needs your help to finish his express run. No other engines are available. Can you go help him? The Fat Controller asked.
Oh yes sir,
James said, a beaming smile stretching his lips to either side of his face, and he rushed to the rescue. James pulled up alongside 98462, who was still moaning about his speed records being ruined once more.
Well, would you get a load of this? The greatest express engine has broken down. What a shame. And look who comes to his rescue.
James laughed. 98462 yelled and moaned like a child wanting a toy they couldn't have, while James ran to the front of the train, and with much difficulty, he pulled 98462 and his express down the line. James made fun of 98462. He laughed and beamed from buffer to buffer as he pulled 98462 and the express.
This should have been my moment,
98462 whined.
And look what handsome engines getting the recognition today,
James continued. Engines such as Henry and Gordon got a good laugh out of seeing James hauling an express train and 98462. When James reached the next station, he shunted 98462 onto a siding and continued his express run. That night, James shunted 98462 into the shed, and the Fat Director was there with a stern look. 98462 knew what was coming. 98462, I gave you and many others far too many chances to prove you could be better engines than you were. I see now that you big engines are hot-headed. Once you are repaired, you will return to the mainland immediately. Am I clear?
Yes, sir,
98462 uttered. He showed an emotion he had never shown before. Sadness and defeat. Sadness that he didn't get to be Sodor's main express engine. And you, James, the Fat Controller continued, have proven your worth yet again. First with the trucks, then with Gordon's Express, and now with 98462's Express. You are a very splendid engine. James couldn't help but smile.
Thank you, sir.
An investigation into the water tower that 98462 drank from and 98462's injectors showed that fish had gotten into the tower. It was cleared out, and once 98462 was repaired at Croven's Gate, he was sent away. No one ever heard from him again. As you can see, little James, we may not always be the most pleasant, and we have all made mistakes. But we can't be the best versions of ourselves if we don't allow ourselves to embrace those mistakes. We may shy away from admission to them, but if we learn from them, then that is what matters. James was inspired by Gordon's little speech, and more than a little shocked.
Look who's the old iron now, he chuckled.
Come on, little James, we have work to do. Gordon laughed with him. Now go out there, James. Be the engine I know you can be.
Thank you, Gordon.